Greetings. This is Mike Powell, the Director for the Department of Water, and I'm here again with another one of the Director's Moments. This is where we feature some of what we call the above and beyond spotlights on our employees within the Department of Water. With us today, we have with us Keshia Kinney. She's with us from the Water Supply and Treatment Division. And I'll just let Keshia, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do, what your position is with the department, maybe how long you've been with the department, and we'll start there.
Okay. I've been with Water Supply and Treatment for about 12 years. I started in 2005. I'm currently Water Treatment Technical Supervisor, so my main job is to make sure that we comply with all of our regulations, and I mainly supervise the lab group that's here within Water Supply and Treatment. We also make sure that all the regulatory requirements are met, not only within the lab, but within also the distribution system and within the treatment plant. So we're responsible from the well field all the way out to the consumer's tap. For the lab, we currently have 9 people, including myself. So you've got 2 samplers that do the well fields and the distribution system. You've got 3 BACT chemists, and they're kind of the people that you see more out in the department. They do more of the consumer complaints, they're more at the water treatment plants, and then you have our water instrumentation group. So they're the ones that are going to run your lead and copper, they're going to do our volatile organic compound monitoring. They do more of the technical skills where you have to be trained up to do.
I see. And so your group is the group that we really rely very heavily upon recently with some of the additional lead sampling and testing that we had to do for one of our customers.
Right. We have a quicker turnaround than if you were to go out to a contract lab. Most of the time contract labs will tell you you've got a 10-day lead time, where for us we can usually turn it around within 3 to 5 days depending on what it is you need us to do.
Wow, that's impressive. Now tell us a little bit about some of the things that you do sort of outside of work.
Well, currently I coach my son's soccer team, which for me was a different adventure. It was me with, I had 14 8 and 9-year-olds, and I'd never coached soccer before. If it was basketball, I was all good, but soccer was a whole other world. So I had to learn all the rules and the positions. But yeah, the kids were awesome. Like, it was worth it just to go hang out with the kids every day.
Wow, so how did the season turn out?
We didn't do too bad. We won more games than I thought.
So now tell me a little bit. Now I know there are a few things that you've done related to, now they're outside of work, but they are kind of related to the things we do here at work. For instance, I know you're an instructor because I was one of your students.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about what you do as far as instructing goes.
Well, previously I instructed the basic water course, which generally prepares people to take your water 1 and 2 through Ohio EPA. So I did that for a few years, and then I also do presentations through OTCO, and I also sit on the OTCO board. And what they do is they organize training for the Ohio operators throughout the state.
There is a need for operators to get certifications after we establish that requirement for water treatment plant operators and some others. So Keshia would help out with training operators towards obtaining their Ohio EPA water license. In fact, she would set up special training sessions on weekends, her own time, that were called monster math sessions because people struggle with the math that was involved on the water operator exams. She also took on teaching the basic water class for the Operator Training Committee of Ohio, and her students were passing the state exam at a rate that was the highest in the state of Ohio.
And the neat thing about Keshia was that although she wasn't really an operator by professional trade, she highly respected the operators. So she was a good educator in that manner, is that when she would go ahead and explain something from the book, or she would go investigate how it works, she would always grab a professional from the field. So the reason that the operators like her so much, because she respects them.
She also provides private study sessions for operators when time is available. And because of all her volunteer efforts and her teaching efforts, Keshia was named Water Department Employee of the Year in January 2014.
So she's been an excellent instructor. In fact, I get people who request her, not just with the city of Dayton, but people outside the city of Dayton, because she bends over backwards to help them out. So when it came time for a position on my board of trustees, she was brought onto our board, and she brings a totally different perspective to my group of operators. Because most of our people are in operations, and some of them may have some background in laboratory, but Keshia's at a different level from her college research that she did. And so she's always wanting to make sure that we don't forget that we don't become intellectual snobs, is one of her favorite things. He said we have to learn how to respect people from no matter what they do in the profession. If they're working in the water field, the wastewater field, they're contributing if they're there. They help you out, and that's why people like her so much.
So some of the things I've done through OTCO, they have where they're working on a degree through a community college, and what you do is some of the OTCO courses you take actually apply towards a 2-year degree. So I work with the community colleges set that we do. I also work with some of the high school students that we work with. So there's the Ginn Institute, which is up in Cleveland. And what we do is we go up there and we talk to them about water careers, and I'll tell them stuff about what we do in the labs.
Wow, that's a lot, considerable. Now tell us about an award you received.
One award I received was called the Richard Mielek Award, and that's for training within Ohio, and you have to be an OTCO instructor in order to receive it.
And what it's for is for someone who's given themselves tirelessly to the field of water treatment by educating and outreach. I mean, it's the third highest award you can get in the state in a water profession.
So now, tell us a little bit more. Let's shift gears, going back to the work environment. What are some of the special projects and things you've been involved with here at work?
One project I worked on was a GIS project. So what we did is we went out and we marked all of where our sample locations are within the well field and through the distribution system. So we have legacy employees who've been here for forever. And my concern was if one of them retired, we wouldn't know where our assets were. So it was kind of like a hands-on thing, and it got people to actually see what they do, and I got to appreciate what they actually do too. So, and then another huge project was great. It was like a whole lab project. Was when we worked with the lime plant on starting the expansion project. So it was all the labsters, and we worked 12 hours shifts, which for us was unusual, but we were able to help the lime plant be able to start their expansion by all the data that we helped them collect.
That's awesome. That's a big project, not just for this division, but for the city in this region, really looking at a lot of the customers and potential customers that we have that this expansion will allow us to service. Lots of things. I mean, the lab stays busy.
Yeah, it's a great group. Like, it's really interesting. Like, you show up and these group of people, like some of them have been here for more than 30 years, some have just started, so it's really cool to see everybody kind of work together and come up with better ways to monitor or better ways to interpret data.
That
That's
is
really
awesome.
cool.
That's really awesome. And to really see the connection between what happens out in the field in well fields, what happens out in the field in terms of our distribution system, and how this small but mighty group plays an integral part in making sure that our customers are protected and receive the best quality water possible.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Thanks for sharing the time with us this morning. You're a great asset to the department. I'd like to personally thank you for all the work that you've done with helping as many people like myself with the OTCO training and preparing us for the exams. There's many operators that owe credit to you for helping them to obtain that status. I'm one of those. And also just thank you for your being willing to step up to the challenge with some of these special projects as well. The lime kiln, some of the lead monitoring requirements that we've had put on us by the EPA, and we've done increased sampling for some of our larger customers and those sorts of things, and just protecting the public in general. Thanks for all that you do.
Oh, no problem. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Well, this has just been a small spotlight of one of our many talented employees that we have throughout the Department of Water. As we look at some of the things that Keshia has done and continues to do for us here within the department, we also got a chance to talk a little bit about some of the things that she does outside that is of an enjoyable nature as well. Who of us would have known, unless we've visited her office and see the soccer balls laying on the floor, that she's an avid soccer coach and an effective one. So if your kids are looking for a soccer coach, hey, we've got one right here in the department. But just keep in mind that as we continue to go through the department and look for individuals that have demonstrated the ability to go above and beyond, what we'll find is that there are several people, some that we might work next to, that we'll be able to find some things out about them that we never knew before. So stay tuned for our next episode of the Director's Corner, Above and Beyond Spotlight.